Picture this. It's 1997. You're in Mr. Henderson's second period math class, and nobody's listening to his lecture on parabolas. The kid next to you is wearing his Letterman jacket and throwing paper airplanes at the kid with glasses and suspenders. The kid in front of you is shooting his friends with a rubber band gun. But you have the beginning of a revolution of digital in-class distraction. For on your school-issued TI-82 calculator, you have a game called Drug Wars. Drug Wars is a game that will turn 44 years old in 2026. In this thrilling text-based game, you had 30 days to buy and sell in New York, moving between the Bronx, the Ghetto, Central Park, Manhattan, Coney Island, and Brooklyn, while paying off your debts to the loan shark and escaping Officer Hardass. This game was created by John Dell for his sophomore computer class on a TRS-80, a computer that was developed in 1977. The game received an A from his teacher, and he later rewrote the game and posted it to a digital bulletin board in the 1980s. Once it was ported to the readily available TI-82, it spread like wildfire across high school campuses. Although the game itself was not really good compared to the games you could have on consoles at the time, it was a sign of stealthy gaming that was yet to come.
As computers were introduced to the office, the next scourge against work was invented: Minesweeper. Although it was not popular during its initial 1990 release, it soon joined the suite of Solitaire and Snake of games that could be played stealthily on your workstation. Of course, computers really did help people become more productive, but they also provided distractions. According to Yahoo News, this led to several debates on whether or not computers really did increase productivity in the workplace, and also incited fears around the ongoing computer revolution. Companies began to remove the pre-installed games from these devices, and the people, well, they were too busy doing their jobs or being bored and playing video games. However, despite these concerns, the computer never really did go away. In fact, they became so necessary in corporate America that schools thought they should teach the youngins how to use them from an early age. Now, let's consider the following. If adults could not resist the temptation of gaming during work, do you think that students will be able to resist the temptation of gaming during class? Well, given our previous track record, I don't think it's gonna work out.
Free-to-play browser-based games were a classic way to lose focus in class. What many people called the Flash era roughly lasted from 2000 to 2010, though its influence stretched well beyond that. This period was defined by games built using Adobe Flash, a browser plugin that made it easy for small developers to create simple and fast-loading games that anyone could play online for free. Flash games really took off in schools as districts began shifting from computer labs to individual laptops. You no longer needed to wait for lab time to play. All it took was a web browser and a few clicks. Sites like Cool Math Games, Pokey, and Friv became go-to destinations, offering hundreds of games that could be played whenever you felt like it. Part of what made Flash games so popular is how accessible they were. There were no downloads, no accounts, and usually no costs. Developers could make and publish games easily, which led to many games like OVO, Fancy Pants, Run, Paparia Games, Fireboy and Water Girl, Bloons, Super Smash Flash, Learn to Fly, Duck Life, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, Raft Wars, Red Ball, and so much more. Many students' first experiences with gaming happened right in school, sneaking in around whenever teachers weren't looking. Of course, schools quickly noticed, administrators saw Flash games as a major distraction, and IT departments began blocking popular gaming websites on school networks. This led to students searching for unblocked sites or mirror pages, while schools tightened filters to keep their classroom focused, which just results in a never-ending game of cat and mouse. Eventually, though, Flash games started to fade. Smartphones and mobile apps gave students a new way to play games, making browser-based Flash games seem less essential. On top of that, Flash itself had growing security issues and performance problems. In 2020, Adobe officially ended support for Flash, marking the true end of this era.
The next era to gain a huge surge in popularity was the rise of chess.com and the New York Times' daily games, particularly Wordle, The Connections, and The Mini. These came about after students started to return from the pandemic and found new ways to not listen to their teacher. There were many large factors to chess.com's surge. The mix of much more free time from the pandemic, with multiple appearances of the game in pop culture, like Netflix's The Queen's Gambit and Twitch's PogChamp tournament, as well as the game's recognizability, all led to its uprising in the early 2020s. Chess.com has gained roughly 150 million users since 2020, a 400% increase since its rise in popularity. Similarly, the New York Times has created a cult following of its new batch of daily puzzle games, like Wordle, created in late 2021. Wordle, along with all of the New York Times games, combine quick, once-daily gameplay with simplistic puzzle design. The daily aspect urges players to either make the game a part of their daily routine or find a boring part of their day, say school, to fill with a quick few dopamine hits. Along with these addicting aspects, the New York Times games have a bit of a social aspect. Sharing your results with your friends and competing for the better score just makes the games even more enticing, especially in a place like the classroom, where laptops make it easy to disguise these kind of games as productive work, and friends are typically readily available to compete with.
A story we have forgotten to mention is the story of the smartphone as a classroom distraction. With crappy mobile games made to push you ads and TikToks to endlessly scroll through, what else is there not to love about these addicting bricks? The current landscape of in-class gaming now includes Block Blast, Run 3, Wordle, Solitaire, and so much more. All of these games have, well, not so rich histories behind them, but a history nonetheless. So, for the students currently playing games right now, thank you so much for contributing to a long history of brain breaks, and maybe pay attention a bit more in class. And for the teachers that are watching this, I hope you got to see a story of human ingenuity rather than a bunch of students trying to get out of classwork. But all of this is just a theory, a video theory. Thank you so much for watching.